Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmond, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Kaitlyn Roux, gut health and hormone coach and founder of Roux Fit and Nutrition. Katie works with women to help them improve their energy, reduce bloating, and achieve sustainable weight loss by focusing on root causes like gut health and hormonal balance. Her work highlights the transformation isn't just about training harder, but it's about understanding what's happening internally. Katie, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm very excited for this one as well. It's right up my avenue, so I'm very excited to dive in and learn a little bit more about your journey. So, Katie, with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up Roux Fit and Nutrition, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, so I'll kind of take you back a little bit longer than like 20 years ago, actually, because that's kind of where it all stemmed from in terms of my passion for helping women, especially. I actually started in the gym when I was in middle school, and my mom was a personal trainer, and I was very lucky for her to introduce us super early on to weight training and muscle growth and strength gains and feeling confident in the gym. And I naturally just gravitated towards it and felt super passionate about it right away. I was a all season sport athlete, so there was never a time off. I usually used the gym to help supplement my athletic career and did that all the way through high school and even into some college years, and just sort of transferred that into personal training in person, primarily at first in group training. And then when I went into college, I got an internship at a strength and conditioning facility and really felt that I wanted to do more of the training for athletes and less of the training for general population. And so I went into strength and conditioning thinking that that was the path I was going to take. And after some reflection and experience, I realized that it actually wasn't very secure in that way in terms of like job security. So I still loved it. I still wanted to coach athletes. I still wanted to train general population. And so through that internship, I was actually hired on as a full-time coach and, was still doing the personal training and the coaching athletes and all that kind of stuff. But I ended up moving into more of a management and more of a leadership role within that company. And when COVID hit, that company had to shut down its doors for a bit. And we were kind of left with not really knowing what was going to happen next. So that was kind of the best thing to ever happen to me, which I know a lot of people can't say that, but I've heard that quite a bit actually from other people, was it was this like kind of kick in the ass, I guess, that I needed to sort of switch gears and find what else was possible for me. So that was the time where I opened my doors in my online business and started getting really great success early on. And I recognized that this was actually like a possible career for me and something that I could actually make a good amount of revenue off of. So when the doors opened back up in the gym, I ended up matching my income and I gave my notice and just kind of went all in into my business. And so it was this long evolution of trying to find really where my true passions were and how I could help the most people. And it turned out that online coaching was where that was.
Yeah, I love that. Especially in the online space, you have that nice impact, across the world, which is pretty cool stuff. But obviously, starting at the beginning of your journey, firstly, thank you so much for sharing that. I had a similar kind of, I suppose, I was going to say, use the word upbringing, but no, I had the same kind of like journey, like before my career led me to hosting a podcast, which was pretty cool. So very much involved in sports my whole life, especially playing and then using the gym to supplement that the whole way through. So I love the fact that you've got like a really long understanding of how the body works, like even your like interest in the gym and now just spreading that to other people. Because I feel like, especially for women, there's a lot of overwhelm when it comes to starting
Yeah.
exercise. How do I go about doing that? What programs are right for me? Where do I start with my nutrition? So I love that it's kind of you're helping women in that kind of environment really escalate and hopefully get to the same level of what you are and moving forward from there. Now, I know you mentioned throughout COVID you kind of took the opportunity to start up your own business. Was that something that you ever saw yourself doing, or did it just naturally kind of occur to you when that situation aroused?
Yeah, so it was totally random. I didn't even know that this sort of career choice was a thing. I ended up seeing a self-paced sort of online course about like fitness coaches starting their own online businesses. And it
Okay.
was just through a couple that like I followed on Instagram and they were like, this is a free course, like you should hop in. It's 30 minutes of your time. And so I was like, why the hell not? Like I got nothing else going on. I'm sitting at home
Right?
doing nothing. And so I ended up doing this course and just like light bulbs the whole time. I was like, this is actually a real thing. I can totally do this. I have, a decade's worth of experience in person. I'm more than capable of doing this. And granted, I didn't have any business experience prior, but having mentors and having a course and having something to kind of like help with that side of things, I was like, this is it. And so I did the course, I self-paced myself and brought myself through the kind of beginning stages of getting your business started. And then it kind of just took off from there.
Nice. I love that. I love that, as you say, you took the initiative and invested in yourself, whether it's a free course or not, you still took the time to go through it and obviously set that business up. And I feel like a lot of people within your space, especially nutrition and fitness world, that kind of business know-how or like savvy doesn't really come alongside the title of a
Hmm.
personal trainer. So it's nice that you had that support coming through, especially in those early stages where it can be, again, so overwhelming as to where do I start? What process do I go through first?
Yeah.
So that's a really cool aspect. So, Katie, let's dive into Roux Fit and Nutrition a little bit more, just so the listeners have some context as we go throughout the podcast. So, at this point into the business, so what are we now, like 5, 6 years kind of going? Who would you say,
Yep,
like,
6.
beautiful? So, who would you say, like, is your ideal client? Like, who is it you very, very much love to work with the most? And then from there, how would you help them and how would you support them along their own fitness journey?
Yeah, so we primarily work with millennial women, 30 to 55, usually career driven, very ambitious, and very excited and also curious to learn more through functional health and gut healing and hormones and diving deeper into their healing journeys, where maybe they've gone through a lot of things in the past, whether it's through different specialists or gone through multiple different appointments with their doctors, different labs that they've done, supplements, nutrition habits, and like nothing has worked, right? They're kind of like throwing darts blindfolded and hoping that it hits the target, and more times than not, it misses. And so we really like to work with women that have tried a lot of different things without much success. Because
Nice.
what we have found that through our functional lens and perspective, and through functional testing, like say GI maps and HTMAs and organic acids tests, we found that by working with the person with a lot of data, but also considering like their lifestyle and their nutrition, and if they're a mom, like that life is very different from a woman who's not a mom, right?
Yeah.
Or a full-time working mom compared to maybe just a full-time working woman, And so we really take a woman's life and what is actually involved in that life and put it into a personalized plan that actually makes sense for them. Like, not one of our clients has the same program as the next, but they are all trying to heal. They're all trying to find themselves again. They're trying to find that confidence and exceed in the things that they're doing in their lives and like have their own personal health and strength and confidence complement being a mom or being a career driven woman. And it all kind of ends up fitting in nicely together because it's kind of the last thing left that they need to work on.
Nice.
And so that kind of brings me into too, like how we do that whole thing. Like what are our actual processes that kind of go into it? And so first and foremost, like we want to make sure that our new clients are a good fit and that we're a good fit for them. And so we always get on a discovery call to confirm that, right? It's like we go over their history, their goals, what they've been struggling with, and try to find just more information about them, right? Like if there's someone that comes into us and we can't help them because it's either out of our scope or out of our specialty, then we want to make sure we point them in the right direction and refer out or give them the right next steps. So that's the first thing that we do. We kind of go over what our coaching entails within that call too, to make sure that that is exactly what they're looking for in their healing journey. And then we go through their onboarding process where we make sure that they're totally in it and aware and understanding of what they have to do first in terms of what their program and plan and protocol looks like. And they get on a one-on-one call with their coach and go through, all the apps and setups and forms and protocol and all that stuff. And then they hit the ground running. Usually with our clients too. So we actually work off of a FEM formula. So FEM is an acronym. So we fix their gut. We eliminate their fatigue, master their metabolism, move with strength, and so they can embody confidence. So that's our overarching kind of system or formula. And within those, we're able to kind of get them a little bit more specific in what that actually means. And so we entail strength training because that's my background and I love being strong and I love other women feeling the same way. And then we use our functional testing for fixing their gut and their hormones. And we want to make sure that, they're well balanced, that they can get these habits and understand why they're actually doing what they're doing. And so eventually they can graduate from us and have the tools to move on as life changes for them.
Beautiful. I love the approach. As you say, you're very much like teaching a man how to fish. You're giving them all the advice, everything they need.
Mm-hmm.
So as I say, cutting out that overwhelm, giving them the clarity and the plan. But it's very custom to them, which like doesn't come so often in like within the health space. It is
Yeah.
that kind of instant gratification, follow this 12-week program and you'll look like this. So I love the fact you're taking the time, make it very tailored, and you can very much meet them where they're at. As you say, they may have tried a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things beforehand. So it's just really dialing in on what can we work with you, like let me know what we're going to do and we move forward from there. And even
Mm-hmm.
diving into the nutrition and hormones, like we both know, when you get to 30 things kind of start to move around a little bit. So again,
Yeah.
providing that clarity so they are fully aware of what's going on inside their own body. So you said there naturally you start with the discovery call, so you're very much diving deep before you even take those steps, so you know if they're a good fit on your side or not. Is that you that is on the calls, or do you have a team that are helping out with that kind of aspect and then running the programs as well?
Yeah. So as of right now, it is still me. As
Okay.
the company grows, a big goal of mine is to grow our team actually into, adding an executive assistant, adding more assistant coaches. I have one right now, and just adding more of a support team through that. And so a lot of the background stuff is still actually me, but eventually I would like to kind of expand that a little bit more and
Nice.
be a little bit less of the face and more of the behind the scenes and growth and that kind of stuff.
Cool. So yeah, you really see yourself, as you say, like working on the business rather than in the individual roles, even stepping away a little bit from that coaching aspect. So it's not your face is at the front of that brand, which I think is nice as you look to scale. It's nice to separate yourself from it a little bit so you're not always tied to that coaching role, especially if you want to take the company to some other levels that we'll get into later on. It's a really cool kind of approach at that early
Yeah. And
stage.
I'd still like to kind of coach, a small roster of people that
Nice. Okay, cool.
are maybe a little bit more tailored to my personality compared to my assistant coach, right? Because like you're
Awesome.
not always going to jive with the person that maybe you're originally assigned to. And so having that kind of like backup coach, I think is important.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that like personalities match and it's a good alignment for both people. So I'd love to still do that. Plus, I'm still passionate about it. Like I still love helping people. I'm still, want to be in the world of coaching and helping and healing people. So, I'd like to still have a very small roster
Okay.
for that reason. But yeah, definitely like eventually, taking a step a little bit further back.
Yeah, awesome stuff. As you say, so still dabbling where you can and keeping that kind of coaching aspect up, but then allowing yourself to run on the business as well. And actually, yeah, you're not going to be, not everyone's a good personality, especially when it does come to fitness. Some women you can
Right.
really push and you can be like, especially if they've got that like mindset behind them. Other people you need to be more softer on and have a more of a roundabout approach. So it does need to
Hmm.
kind of match up with those personalities when you are thinking about your clients as well. And one
Yeah.
thing I'm very curious to find out as well, Katie, because you'll know yourself, it's a very busy and noisy world at the moment, especially within that fitness sector. So, like, how do you go about acquiring your customers? Like, what channels or methods are you really finding most effective at the moment and just finding those right people to work with?
Yeah. So actually last year, 2025, kind of was a very different year compared to all the previous years. And so previously, social media and referrals were really the main place that I got clients. And 2025, for whatever reason, not necessarily referrals, like referrals are always a very consistent thing for us, but social media changed. I don't know
Okay.
what it was about I don't know, the environment of social media or just 2025 in general changed. But my previous tactics to get clients was not at all working in 2025. And so towards the end of the year, recognizing that it was a very tough year for the business, for that reason, I ended up switching gears completely for 2026. I ended up doing a lot more in-person workshops and education seminars and partnering with different local places that host those things and partnering with other professionals in this field too as part of either a referral network or in-person workshops together, essentially, where we're kind of tackling multiple different niches within the actual in-person workshops.
Yeah.
So part of my background actually through my original job I had spoken about was educating interns, educating graduate fellows, speaking in front of people, going to schools and talking in front of large groups of students. And so public speaking is actually like I'm pretty good at it. And I didn't even
Cool.
like think about it prior to this year that that would probably be something that I should be doing in my business. And so last year, it just kind of like sparked this reminder in myself of like how much I love speaking in front of people and educating and providing as much like support to the community as I possibly can. And so I just sort of switched gears a bit and took on a different way to acquire clients and a different way to help people a little bit more and be in front of
Right.
people. And social media can be hard too because not a lot of personality can come through as much as you'd like. And in person, I feel like a lot of my personality comes through and it's, a lot easier to kind of like get who I am and how I help and that kind of thing. And so that was a really, really big switch to
Yeah.
my process in marketing and getting in front of people.
Yeah, that is a big pivot, especially as you say, like if I suppose 2025, I don't know what the main reason would be for in your specific case, but I do know the algorithm change a lot and the way that the social media is presented is changing a lot, especially like constant change at the moment. So yeah, leaning into what you didn't know you know best, speaking. And I think that's a great way to do it. As you say, it's something different. It's obviously not a new technique, but it is something different within the modern world because most people do rely on solely referrals or just like, as you say,
Mhm.
digital marketing and content side of things. So leaning into the workshops and partnerships, people get a different energy when you're in person. So I love that a lot. And are
Mhm.
you still keeping up with your online work? Because I think a nice synergy of them both is really important for most businesses, because
Yeah.
online is such an important part these days. So you're still kind of keeping up with that side of things as you get into more of in-person marketing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I
Right.
still try to stay super active on social media. I would say I'm most probably active on Instagram
Awesome.
compared to Facebook. Those are kind of my two major sources of social media. And yeah, just trying to sort of stay relevant, I guess, in the social media world and give a different sort of smaller dose of what I'm actually teaching in person so that people
Okay.
can
Nice.
maintain watching it and stay curious.
Awesome stuff. I think one thing maybe worth trying on social media as well, like long form content, is very much coming back into play because naturally people, as you said, like more leaning into trust at the moment. I think it's the biggest thing that
Hmm.
shifts in the last couple of years. So yeah, maybe like as you say, getting more on that knowledge side, like what it's actually like to work with me, a glimpse into my world, and really pushing out on those longer content where they can get a resonation of your personality as well as your coaching style,
Yeah.
is a good option moving through. And do you ever run or did you ever run any form of advertisements or anything, or is it just very organic with your output?
Yeah, I have run ads before for sure through Meta. I've run different promotional ads. I've run different sort of boosting posts before, and, obviously through Instagram and stuff. And I've sort of tried a little bit of here and there. And there was the big shift that happened in 2025. And so I kind of ended up stepping away from that a little bit. But now that I'm seeing so much better success with the workshops and seminars and educating people in person, I haven't really found the need to do much
Fair enough.
ads. So I just haven't really stepped back into it as much as I have in the past.
Yeah, awesome stuff. But at least you dabbled and you tried in the past. I feel like they can bring a great load of consistency, especially when you are working online. sometimes with the organic model, as you say, it kind of dries up when you get to a point. Even referrals don't start
Hmm.
coming through online. So I think it's just nice to expand your ecosystem a little bit more, like outside of your local area. So again, moving forward for the future. And I suppose, what are your ambitions or your visions for the company when you think of maybe the next like 6 to 12 months? What are those goals or those milestones that you're working hard towards achieving?
Yeah, so I am currently working on a 200K year. So I set a pretty good reach goal for our company, and especially coming off of 2025. Granted, we're still a six-figure company, but it was something that was kind of this push to get myself a little bit more
Yeah.
uncomfortable, get myself in front of people more, and do things a little bit differently. So that's kind of my 12-year goal is a 200K year. And also adding on to my team, I would love to bring on an executive assistant. I would love to bring on a sales representative to kind of work behind the scenes in that
Oh,
sense. And probably within the 6 months, it's actually, I'm 7 months pregnant. And so the next 3 months are going to be a little bit more tailored to raising a newborn child and also raising my toddler. So within the next 6 months, I think it's really just about maintaining and still like building, nurturing different types of relationships sort of behind the scenes and making sure our clients are happy, making sure my assistant coach is happy, and,
yeah.
going through my own healing journey in postpartum.
Absolutely, yeah. Looking after that little one while you're still running the business. I mean, pretty
Yeah.
cool stuff. That's what women are for.
Yeah.
So awesome stuff. So it's as you say, just kind of setting the ship and then bringing on and growing that team as you're ready to go. And I suppose where are you probably finding like the biggest challenge for yourself at the moment within the business, or even looking to achieve those goals of that 200K that you've set out?
Yeah, I think it's really end up going more towards maybe more in-person things, more push towards, potentially getting more referrals or building even like referral relationships with other companies or other professionals within this sort of like health and wellness
Yeah.
field. I would say so far, just within the start of this big shift in my approach to marketing, has been a really good success so far. And so I think like it's really just about growing more relationships and partnering up with more professionals and going to more in-person events so I can make those connections and getting myself a little bit more uncomfortable with with those types of
Yeah.
scenes and environments because it can be quite intimidating if it's new and unknown and
Hmm.
you're in a room full of 200 plus professionals that probably know more than you or just as much. And so reminding myself that, I belong in every room and that I'm more than capable of holding my own in those spaces. So I think like that's probably where my biggest challenges are, but I don't even know if I would call them challenges. I would just call them learning opportunities and seeing where I
Yeah.
can take it from here.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like that's the definition of a challenge anyway. It's something that I'm looking to overcome, not so much an issue where it's like, oh, how do I get around that barrier? But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, it's a very much easier said than done, the feeling of being comfortable, uncomfortable. But
Hmm.
I feel like, especially with the imposter syndrome coming in, there's a lot of people that can probably resonate with that, especially being entrepreneurs. I think like it comes hand in hand sometimes. Like, am I good enough to do this and whatever else? But just getting yourself
Hmm.
in there, and I think the more you do it, it's like taking those steps. You'll get comfortable and
Yeah.
comfortable each time. But as you say, it's just kind of wrapping your head around it a little bit until we get to that point. And Katie, I do have one final question to ask you before we log out. So if you could go back in time to a younger self, and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now, but that you didn't know back then, what would you say to yourself?
That being uncomfortable and doing the thing you don't want to do is exactly what you need to be doing for growth and development and having success. You got to
Love.
get out of your comfort zone and you got to
So
do the thing you don't want to do.
exactly that. Especially as an entrepreneur, it's one of those hats you have to put on, unfortunately. But
Yep.
thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do so?
Yeah. So social media is probably the best place as of right now. My website is in developmental stage. So hopefully that'll be done in the next couple of months. But Instagram is probably a great place. Facebook is a great place. Instagram.com/Katie Roux or Facebook Katie.McHugh, which is my maiden name. But both of those places are a good place to either message me or get connected to see what I'm posting on there. Whereas if you're local to me, then you'll get to see when I have my workshops and seminars.
Awesome stuff. And beautiful. And thank you again, Katie, for joining me. I really appreciate your time today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to go and check out Katie Roux. She just said drop her a message on LinkedIn. Find her on Facebook under a different name. Is it Katie? I forgot what you said. Katie
McHugh.
McHugh.
Yeah,
That was it.
Katie.McHugh.
Because I was thinking
Yeah.
Alex McHugh. Katie McHugh. Please drop her a message. I'm sure she'd love to hear from everybody. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from 0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we will see you on the next one.